Alright, in the bottom, in the top side of the map to start us off here in this second semi-final, we have got ourselves the red Terran and orange Terran, Maru and ByuN. And in the bottom left-hand side, our blue Protoss is Goblin, and our teal Terran is uThermal. As we enter our second semi-final, grand finals after this will also be a best of 5, so that is coming up as well. And all of that ready to go. Alright, Goblin uThermal, let's see if they can make some Protoss Terran magic happen. As we get settled on in to the early stages. No proxies or anything just yet. Don't expect ByuN and Maru to not proxy. They absolutely will do. I actually saw that in their round of 8 matchup. Just get set up and ready to go. Kind of fun obviously you see Maru playing in 2v2s. Man doesn't play anything 1v1, but ByuN makes him. The moment there's a team competition, ByuN makes him play. They're actually signed up for tomorrow's 3v3 with Ryung, and on Saturday's 4v4 with Gumiho and Ryung. So, yeah, ByuN is making Maru play all the team games. Hello, what's up, man? Thank you so much for the 38-month resub. OMG. 2v2 with ByuN and Maru. Wardy's awesome. Well, nothing to do with me. Players just decided to sign up, man. Of all the things I do, this is one I can't take credit for. They just wanted to play. It's going to be seeing that probe moving about a little bit then. And get set up. CC comes floating across. Marines all gathering up. Obviously, there's going to be Cyclone build on the side of ByuN and Maru. uThermal is going to go mech. He is going to go mech with Hellions. Probably mass Hellion Phoenix. Very powerful way to play TP when it comes to 2v2s. Again, that idea of feeding the Phoenix player. Gonna see this few Hellions trying to come up over here. They get turned around a second. As uThermal will play cleanup over in the main base. TP sounds like toilet paper. Nice. I mean, PT's not much better, right? Personal trainer. It may be better than toilet paper. Cyclone's Marines will fight a little bit. Hellion going down. Cyclone's locked in. The Marines and the Cyclones continue to take some shots. Marines getting lifted up. As that Phoenix get turned away again. Engineering Bay, Barracks all continue to come through. Again, this TLMC brought to you by Monster Energy, guys. Thank you so much to Monster for helping to make these TLMCs and the tournaments still happen, providing the prize money for the players today. Just amazing that this is still a thing. Phoenix is going to make their way out up that right-hand side. We are going to see a CC to the top as well. Maru going to get that in position. Get on his way to his third base as Goblin to fly in with the Phoenix and try and get a few of these kills. Cyclones and missile turrets combined and trying to be the defense there. I believe at least one Phoenix went down as now Maru comes across to defend his third base position from this little push that uThermal has going on. He'll be able to turn that out without too many issues. Impact, Combat Shield +1, all of that still coming through. The Ghost Academy coming up. And Marines now. Cyclones getting underneath the Phoenix. Gonna get rid of a couple of those. The Hellions come across as well. Tanks will continue to gather when we are going to be seeing just this attempted push forward from Goblin and uThermal, trying to make some presence in the center. You've seen Stimpack, Combat Shield +1, all of that continue to come through. We are going to be seeing our units back over here, just opening up some rocks. And tell you what, as the days gone on, we've definitely been kind of progressing a little bit, haven't we? Just towards kind of some longer games, a little bit more contest. Hellions going to be firing away. We do have a few of those SCVs getting knocked down. Continues across, just going to be seeing ByuN still hanging out in the center. Marines is going to come across. Going to be seeing a couple of Phoenix getting shot at. Fire comes around the left-hand side. It is going to be Maru to just try and push back. Maru is playing Bio as well. Interesting because earlier he was playing obviously a little bit more of the mech kind of approach. So yeah, a little bit of a different approach, I guess, from what we saw earlier on. Is we have the uThermal army just sitting out the front here and waiting to try and play defense. He's got his tank set up. This is a very narrow choke point into this base location, so actually it's a very safe one to protect. Very easy to do so with the, like I say, with that tank line. Let's see, ByuN going to try his look around the bottom, but that's where Goblin's army will be. Maru's forces coming around. They're still banded back at home, going to catch a few of these Hellions that were around from earlier. Obviously, again, the two Bio unit Terrans on the same team. Well, it is Goblin and uThermal. And uThermal is meching. Let's see if he's going to come back across. Getting this all down, 2-2 still coming up. And we've seen a couple shots coming in. We are going to be moving across that left-hand side currently. down this set of rocks on the right side, left-hand side as well, open up more of the map. Coming back to the top again. 2 upgrades all coming in. Vikings coming in, starport coming up. Missile turret's going to slow those Phoenix down. Is there a point where these Phoenix are less exciting or less kind of impactful? Probably not, right? Because we're just moving into carriers at the next stage of this. Feels like Goblin's army is almost always going to have a pretty good position to be in. So if he's full, a couple of Hellions show up. The ByuN army going to come back over there. Those Hellions get cleaned up as well. Now we're going to be starting up his 3-3 upgrade-wise. 3-3 is pretty much being on the way is pretty much the best we've got. ByuN is on 2-2, uThermal's on the way to 2-2, and Goblin on his way to that +2 attack. So upgrade-wise, it's a little bit favored to the double Terran team. I'm starting to see some of these final bases be taken, by the way, so we're seeing the entire stretch of the map coming through. Yellowjack definitely providing a very macro kind of affair, because I guess a lot of the bases in the center really hold high ground as well. So it's very difficult to kind of move across the map because you're almost always moving into your opponent's high ground position. It's going to be moving about a bit further down to the bottom. We are going to be seeing the ByuN going to try and jump on some of the Colossus. Can't feel like that's a great idea, but we are going to go from 2 sides. The EMP's coming down. This is obviously Goblin's army on its own, so he's getting 2v1 right now. uThermal's army is just not nearby to help, and Goblin gets absolutely smashed. uThermal was playing defensively. Goblin caught too far forward. Didn't look pretty when Maru first stimmed in on the left-hand side, but when reinforcements showed up and the army of ByuN arrived from the right side, well, that became a much more one-sided affair as ByuN and Maru take a big win there. Maru is going to maintain a lot of supply, as did obviously uThermal, who just wasn't part of that at all. ByuN actually did lose a lot of supply, and he's going to have to try and rebuild back up from that as well. So something else for us to look at here as we continue to settle in. We've seen another nuke coming out. Another nuke coming down as well. Nuke after nuke just landing in. We're just going to keep on launching them. We are building 4 nukes at a time right now as Maru, so he's just going to get ready to nuke and never stop again. The tank is going to go down. The carriers have to pull back a little bit as well. Trying to stay out of the way of some of those nukes, trying to stay very safe wherever possible. 3-3 continues through, and there's another nuke lands. Nexus takes another hit. Some more shots coming about as well. Redvac's going to boost around the left-hand side. Going to be seeing the advanced ballistics +3 ship weapons coming in. The mothership's going to come across here, and it's going to be a mothership recall to try and be the defense. Another nuke flies up into the sky. That's going to launch over here. In the main base, the ByuN army is actually standing somewhat strong. There's some storms though to help out, and that little Goblin pushing this back. No surprise it's ByuN making the YOLO drop plays as nukes just do not stop. However, there's going to be a mech army here. ByuN might actually have to lift his CC to get his army into range. Maru comes in with the Liberators, however. There are some Thors, and the Thors are actually going to be pretty good defensively. Another nuke as this one lands on the base, and all of the SCVs come crashing down. Almost lifted up into the skies. We are going to clean up on a few more of these bio units. And at this point, I think uThermal is just taking a few shots too many. Don't get me wrong, they've got ByuN kind of held back to 150 supply, but they're both, you know, Goblin and uThermal are both on 150 supply. Maru is still maxed out. The combined army effort now, you could argue that neck carriers are probably still better than double Terran play in Bio though, so there is a factor to kind of consider there as well. Hellions still moving about, and will continue to move across. Another launch up into the sky. Lands down, a few tanks move to the side. They're going to get siege. Thor setting up. We are going to see the carriers pushing through as well. Tempest also going to go on the move. Hearing that planetary fortress, the Order of the Man is going to drop. Not only Maru in the center moving about as well. Gun supply is really just kind of plummeting. His supply really is not being able to kind of stand up against this army of Goblin and uThermal. Another nuke, and we've got to be careful. It is actually going to land towards where those tanks were just at. Going to cancel it, allows us to stim in here to take advantage of the fact that these tanks were unsieged. So in we go. We do have Libs and Vikings just chasing in for the carriers. The Bio needs to clean out the Thor so that there isn't as much anti-air in play, as we are going to cloak up from the mothership. Do we have enough to keep chasing that air army? It doesn't necessarily feel like it, right? The Goblin's air forces are looking as though it might slide out of here somewhat alive. A recall comes out. We're going to lose so much of it. Only 3 units got recalled in the end. Maru and ByuN just about clinch the cleanup. And now obviously you look at the kind of the map. I love the scans. ByuN and Maru are going to realize, okay, they don't have the far left. They don't really have the bottom right established. We do have more bases set up than they do. So after all is said and done here, resources lost is fairly even. The fact that then ByuN and Maru have access to more mining already is going to mean that they come out of this in a lead. Crazy game. So far, 17.5 minutes here on Yellow Jacket, and well, it is a big push. Oh my god, that nuke lands as well for so many more SCVs. Holy crap. The nukes have been so good, and just in a game where it has become kind of utter chaos, the nukes have been especially good because they really have just caught you a bit off guard. And you don't usually see nukes TVT either, right? And with so much going on, 2v2 style as well, there's just more chance to catch your opponent not watching and not checking for those nukes consistently while everything else is taking place. It's easy to get kind of lost in the moment and lost in the game a little bit, actually. Oh. Tanks and Thors. Looking to set up again. All these nukes coming off of Maru. As we land on one, or try to land one down to this bottom side. It's going to land here in a second. Probes going across. Oh my god, they all get caught as well. So Goblin takes even more equal loss. So we're trying to push forward with Thor tank and Tempest. So up we move. Bio dives on the left-hand side. Planetary Fortress will be taken out. Tempest still firing. We are going to be seeing the tank sieging. Another nuke launches up into the sky. Just doesn't stop. As tanks and Tempest and carriers, Tempest going about. That nuke will not go anywhere. And Goblin and uThermal are basically on their last army here. It's this last push. We just need one more cleanup from the Korean Terrans. We are probably good to call GG on this one. And they are setting up for the mega surround. They've been trying to nuke from all sides, and now they're just going to commit from all sides. Storms coming in from Goblin are going to do a lot of work on this army of ByuN initially, as they obviously attacking into siege tanks as well, but they just have so much that despite the terrible position, it's just not going to matter that much at all. These carriers and so on may try and get away, but again, there's not much of a rebuild behind this. uThermal is on only 70 supply behind this as well. Currently building Hellions, as we probably at this point can just build Vikings and then deal with the carrier Tempest Force, and that should just be that. So we're seeing another potential stim in here as we're just going to try and fight this. With Marines and Ghosts, I mean, I don't actually think we have enough anti-air that can get into reach easily. They are counter-attacking across the map at the same time, which is nice to see. The Liberators could maybe chase, but I just don't think it's worth it without Vikings. Vikings are the things that would really genuinely do a lot of damage here quickly. Without those, I feel like we're kind of just making this a bad trade for no reason. The recall finally comes down as, again, bio units have been all across the place trying to deny bases, and they will continue to do that at the moment. Another way in which we establish the lead fully at the moment. And I'm going to say GG, so will Goblin. A hell of a duel here on Yellow Jacket to start off this series, but it is going to go the way of ByuN and Maru to open up with a 1-0 lead in this best-of-5 semi-final. In the top right corner will be Goblin and uThermal, who are down a map now in this best-of-5. They are down 0-1. And in the bottom left, taking that first game is going to be ByuN and Maru. Again, both playing double bio, a lot of nukes and stuff, but maybe wasn't quite the way I expected them to go about it. Kind of expected one of them to play mech, like Maru was doing earlier in the 2v2s. But they both played bio that time around. Of course, this is a series which determines who will get through to play against Max, Bex, and Spirit in the finals. Keep that in mind, that is also going to be on the way up here. As we continue by. Wonder if there's going to be some rushes. Yeah, sometimes ByuN and Maru actually do very aggressive rush plays in 2v2 as well, but I don't think these maps necessarily allow themselves to do that as much. I think these maps are all a little bit more sizable, so it kind of takes away that element of the 2v2. At least a little bit. Alright, Rex coming through. Got RCC coming up. Nexus on the way. Get settled down as our probe comes about as well. CC building up in the main base, we get that on the way. Let's get things going. Here it comes about. Just gonna get a little pick off with the shot there. So you're actually gonna see this Reaper of uThermal gonna get the better end of this trade, so he gets a jump on Maru's Reaper. Maru has to go pulling backwards as ByuN's. Oh, actually, Maru does not save his Reaper, so a little bit of miscontrol there. I was gonna say ByuN CC first is about to finish up, and he's obviously very behind on unit production because of that. But is obviously gonna benefit from a nice fast command center coming up and already being an orbital here. So we are benefiting from an extra mule every so often, and that obviously has got to feel great. I see Marine gonna fight. Reaper is gonna take a few shots to get chased away. Orbital lifts off. Maru just gonna get up to his two bases. uThermal gonna be doing the same here. Goblin was the one that got the backward base to start off this second map. Undercurrent. I think SC2 could really benefit from more high-level team game tournaments. The diversity it creates in the matchup is quite insane. I think the problem with team games is that once you've casted a week of team games, you realize that team games do not really have a lot of versatility or kind of variation. There is very definitely a set way that is best to play in team games. And the reason we don't really see it kind of all the time is because obviously people, you know, don't play team games all the time, so they're not, you know, the best at it, and they do things a bit wrong. But you see it all the time if there's like a week-long, when WTL held like a week-long 2v2 tournament, by the end of the week you knew the Terran player was playing Mech, with the Phoenix player, or with the Protoss player that was playing Phoenix. And that was the style. You would know the times the like, it gets very figured out, right? At least in my eyes it does. Like I say, it's fresh because we don't see it a lot ourselves, but it doesn't take long to get figured out, I think, personally. But maybe that's the job of the maps as well, do things a little bit differently. Just gonna have our cyclones still joined together. We do have our cannons coming up. Nexus and Phoenix continue to come through as well. We actually get ourselves a couple of these SCVs. The Banshee does some work. Phoenix from Goblin have to come through and save the day a little bit, so we'll get that cleanup. We're going into bio from both ByuN and Maru once again. I am genuinely surprised by that. Cyclones with that lock onto a Widow Mine. Just going to push that about a little bit, try and clear up this space as we just try and take our third bases. This is ByuN and Maru kind of expanding the same kind of way that they did last time as well, so not really too surprising there. Let's come over, gonna get a few of those SCVs picked off immediately. I'm gonna get a few of those grabs nice and quick. Aliens pulling back, the bio and so on moving through a little bit as well. Coming back over. Shot coming through. Come diving in. This is where the power of the Phoenix can definitely show themselves. You can see Maru's supply is absolutely struggling here. Never really getting off the ground. Drops some auto turrets down to try and help. It does feel as though uThermal and Goblin are off to something good actually right now. Definitely on the right track at the moment. And it's going to keep on lifting. It's going to a bunch more picks right here. Just going to see a bit of bio trying to come through. Tanks will be able to fire back. The bio able to, being pushed away. And this Goblin uThermal push is definitely starting to get a little bit scarier, right? We've seen a couple of Cyclones locking on. The Phoenix going to go after that orbital. It is continuing to burn. So that gold base will not be allowed to be taken against the position that you hold here. As uThermal and Goblin, that is really sending you into a very strong position, really strong setup right now. More shots going through. Hellions get chased away. The orbital command is going to get repaired as I'm just relocated, but the issue is still somewhat the same. I guess a more open area to break back out of, though. Dropping the main base. I love that from ByuN. So much attention in the center that some dropping action over here could go a long way. I love the drop forward here from Maru as he tries to break out. Dropping towards a lot of these tanks. The Marauders, I mean, that was great. The Marauders on the right side getting dropped on top of a tank. Did some serious damage and helps to clean that up even more quickly. Beautiful breakout in the end. Took a while to get there, but we did get there in the end. Nicely done. Was quite a bit of effort. Plus 2 air weapons coming up, the Stargate, and a few more gateways all coming out. Twilight Council and Fleet Beacon still building as well. Fire will get there and clean up those Hellions, now cannons and batteries. I'll set up in the center. Gonna buy a shot, and Phoenix gonna get grabbed. Drilling Claw still coming up, plus 1 vehicle weapons and playing continue through. Army of Goblin and uThermal still making their way around that right hand side, pushing into the middle of the map. .174 supply Goblin, 137 uThermal. uThermal is about equal in supply with Maru, Goblin equal with ByuN. I just feel like, again, both the army compositions from Goblin and uThermal are better. Much happier to see the, we've got Mech basically instead of Bio. Much happier to see Skytoss instead of Bio. These Hellions get through. They get a bunch of SCVs. There's some of ByuN's supply lost. For a few Hellions, a super worthwhile trade. Anything to slow your opponent down economically goes a long way. As Bioforce still moving about, we do see another big push though from Goblin and uThermal just making their way through the center of the map currently. So straight through the middle we go. Gonna force a cancel on the gold base location. Nuke's gonna land, clips a couple of Widow Mines, nothing too crazy. Those nukes were great in the last game, I think, because obviously you were kind of ahead when you started nuking. Nuking without kind of having that lead, I feel like is going to be so much less effective. So happy to be proven wrong. Hellions going to try and come up this ramp. The Bio will be there. Hellions get turned around immediately. And this is it, right? Big fight breaking out. Carriers are putting in some work. Some siege tanks from afar makes it difficult for the Bio to chase in. There's Maru's army that's trying to fight. There's ByuN's army is on the way up to help now. And he has a massive counterattack still going on to the other side, but he's going to be running into tanks kind of head first. Getting supply drops heavily as he has to run into these positions. I mean, he will get all the way through, though. He will get rid of every single siege tank that was here on the top side. Going to recall this by a Protoss army away. Now we're just going to come through and clean up these final few tanks as well. Well, ByuN and Maru finding a way to keep this going at the moment. He's joining up, a couple interceptors flying through. Bio being kept away, still got 3-3 upgrades coming in on both sides, a +3 attack coming in as well. And Maru to just continue to get upgrades established. Once more, some Hellions trying to shut down the economy. Fire continues through there, a couple more shots coming out, a Phoenix still coming around. Phoenix want to move up to the top as the Marines is going to slam through the Phoenix. Okay, a loss for Goblin. He is just going to replace with more carriers. Maybe he doesn't care too much. Maybe he just wants more carriers to be built. Interceptor still launching, and obviously again it is this push of Goblin. That could really be kind of game ending as we push on forwards. The gold base goes down in an instant. I honestly just do not feel like we have enough to fight against the Protoss air army right now. Going to start a threat to come in from the top side, but Maru is not really joined up with them just yet. Those libs have some serious work to do if their goal is to just try and take down some of the interceptors. We actually get underneath this army though. 4 carriers go down. Wow, they actually benefit from this continued push. 1 siege tank here, and if we get through that, then the rest of the tanks on the low ground don't really protect that position. Once again, these Hellions get through. How many times have we seen Hellions just show up on that left-hand side? 3-4 times at least without them being touched by anything on the way there. Maru's continue to come back over. Tempests are firing away. Thing is, at this point, Goblin and uThermal are both getting to maxed out, and ByuN's supply is trailing hard. And I wonder if we do start to see a change up from ByuN and Maru as the series goes on, because I don't know if they can really get away with continuing to play Marines, tanks, just bio, and obviously they're playing just general bio, but bio tank. I just don't think they can keep getting away with just that. You see now, Carrier is still taking some shots. Few more hits coming through. We're going to send the disruptors out as well to try and play the protection game. ByuN and Maru are both melting here, and it looks as though Goblin and uThermal will fully control game 2, start through to finish, tying this series up 1-1. Bottom right hand side, as we are tied up 1-1, we're going to have the red and orange team of Maru and ByuN. At top left, it is uThermal and Goblin. What are you saying? It's pretty easy to figure out team games. To look at 1v1, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I don't think 1v1 is very straightforward. I think what makes 2v2 more straightforward than it seems is that in team games you can often get away with just doing the best possible thing, right? Now in 1v1, to do doing the best possible thing is taking into account your opponent and what your opponent might do to you in all the ways in which you can't just kind of play your own game, right? You can't just like rush BCs or rush Sky Toss, etc., right? Whereas in 2v2 and so on, you've got a teammate. So if you know that in theory, the best thing you can do is to mass Phoenix and build Sky Toss, if your teammate can A, feed you to get you there, and B, help you to hold off to get to that point, then it's just a much simpler solution. Like, why would you not do that? Unless there is really a way to punish it. But what typically has been seen in team games from my point of view is we don't see things that really punish that a whole lot. And that's why I think the complexity kind of lacks in 2v2 and so on a little bit, because it just gets to this point very quickly where it's just like, no, it's just, it doesn't matter. Like, the things that are really good do not seem to have a good counter, because otherwise you wouldn't just keep doing it every single time, right? But that's just my point of view of it as well, so it was a fun thought. Is a Reaper going to hit a Reaper here? Go straight to C instead of A, B, C? Yeah, exactly, right? You just get to like skip a couple of steps because you don't have to, you've got a teammate that can help you kind of cover the typical weaknesses of something. And yes, okay, that means that then you've got to still figure it out, but like I say, in my eyes, I just feel as though going straight to things is not punishable in as many ways as it could be with team games. Yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion, and my opinion is very much so just based off the 2v2 I watch. I don't sit out here and play a lot of 2v2 or anything. This is just what I see when we have the rare 2v2 tournament 1-2 times a year. And maybe it's also just the fact that we don't see the players playing 2v2 a whole lot more, so they don't get the chance to develop even further. But as far as I'm aware, the builds that these guys do are typically kind of somewhat just variations based on what the guys that do play a lot of 2v2 do. So I think it's a fun conversation. No, me too. I think it's a very interesting one because it's very game design focused, and it really doesn't have a straightforward answer. I don't know if anyone can particularly be kind of like just super right or super wrong on this. Anyways, we have seen a switch up. Terran Protoss versus Terran Protoss, and Maru is proxying a Dark Shrine. So they are going to switch it up. And if DTs get in right now, the only detection is going to be scans. So it could be a big deal. As you see uThermal coming in with a few Hellions. Hellions is going to get caught a little bit here as the few Marines try and turn it back around. And DT showing up as they start to cause some trouble. Like I said, there's a real lack of detection here. As that DT gets up to the high ground. Hasn't really done too much, but I guess now we're going to have DTs in multiple bases, and this is where it's going to become a problem, right? So multiple DTs, going to force multiple scans. Oracle's on the way, 3 of them at once as Goblin was being fed money for the Stargates. Now he is going to have to go Oracles to get the Revelations available to help against these DTs, which, you know, when you look at this, 2 SCVs and 5 probes lost. I wouldn't say like these DTs were a huge success. 2 DTs will go down for this. I wouldn't say this was the craziest of openings, as now Maru moves into Blink finishing, but then 2 Stargates of his own. Fascinating. Marines got that. Hellions getting turned around. Things will obviously lift up to help, but this is going to be a lot of Hellions of uThermal getting into this base of ByuN. ByuN's going to take some eco damage. These SCVs are in some trouble. Blue Flame active as well. We scan, we revelate the DT that's there, so the DT gets taken out by those Hellions. Now we get rid of all these probes, and ByuN and Maru just going to say GG. As this was our fastest game of the series so far. Maru switches to Protoss, loses instantly. What does that tell you? To the top right-hand corner of the map, we're going to start off with the players who are now behind, and the SCVs move forward immediately to go proxy. It is ByuN and Maru. Back to Terran, taking on the Terran Protoss combination of Goblin and uThermal in the bottom left-hand side. But like I say, it is proxy time as they start to move straight across the map. No time wasted on moving out there. And we will see if this proxy play can have an impact in the early stages. Barracks gas coming up. We're going to go second barracks here as well. So SCV is waiting to put that down. The 1 probe of Goblin will soon see that there is no barracks back at home, so that information will be claimed very shortly. Oh, our proxy barracks going to get fully set up very shortly. Get that underway. Orbital coming about, a couple of Reapers coming in on either side. Cybercore still coming up as well. See a couple of shots coming out. The Zelt will take a few more hits. Just continuing through. We continue to get that set up. And here comes the aggression. While all these Reapers jump in, there's an Adept on the way over, Marine as well. As ByuN and Maru obviously really wanting to switch this up for this game 4. Reaper's still fighting, just going to be seen on Nexus, obviously in some trouble as well. Trying to take that expansion is going to be tough. That's what ByuN and Maru are counting on a little bit. Is going to come across, provide a little bit of high ground vision, although I think for the most part we're kind of getting past this Reaper phase. The defense has been made. More shots going through. Barracks still taking some shots. Oracle flying, couple of SCVs taking some shots. We are going to see this obviously being some nice counter aggression. Maru and ByuN definitely coming out down a little bit on this. He's getting shot at. Might as well just come back in. I mean, this is the big benefit, right? You defend, but it's on one base, so you can't get an expansion up. You're going to see the Cyclones dropping on top of this Oracle, and that's going to be a cleanup. uThermal and Goblin actually do protect the expansion on the low ground. Cyclones lock on again. That's the Reaper's coming back over. Just going to be seeing this medevac going back across this side also. And just getting the Cyclones, Lib coming up. Hurricane Thrusters on the way in. Continue to bring that through as well, so we just get that up and running, get that Hurricane Thrusters, get that Cyclone speed. As we have Phoenix, obviously can lift up these Cyclones and take them out. I was going to say going to have to here, otherwise we're going to lose Phoenix, which is obviously not ideal. Cyclones stay locked on. Reaper's still trying to just be annoying, but it would be nice to finally get rid of these once and for all. Before it goes into even more damage. I mean, supply-wise, uThermal and Goblin are still in a great spot, especially now as they get expansions up. Oracle comes in, gets a little bit more done. Sieging up in this main base. That's nice. That's actually going to do a lot. That gets rid of quite a few SCVs before it really gets dealt with. Factory lifts off. Cyclones lock. The Oracle still taking some shots against him, and +1 continue to come through for the moment. Cyclones, Marines, Stalkers, and Phoenix all gathering up. So I see this army continuing forwards. uThermal and Goblin pushing straight into the bases of Maru and ByuN, and I don't think Maru and ByuN can really, I was going to say, provide too much defense, but the Cyclones have actually been great, and a couple of tanks on that ramp as well, able to hold the position, so have been able to hold this off for the moment. uThermal can reposition his siege tanks a little bit and try and get into a more annoying position. I mean, maybe siege in range of that building command center, right? Slow that down would be huge. Anytime you're slowing down a building base, you're stopping your opponent from getting into a better spot. That is amazing. Oracle here just left kind of over solid ground. Doesn't quite go down, doesn't get fully punished, but a scary moment. Do not want to be making mistakes like that. Don't want to potentially give up that Oracle for no reason at all. uThermal and Goblin are up the game, remember, so Maru and ByuN cannot allow for this attack to break them. Otherwise, their tournament comes to an end here in the semi-finals, which would be a shock to a lot of people, honestly. Grab a siege tank, couple cyclones firing up in return, so a few more shots coming back the other way. Oracle now into the main base, going to get a few SCVs. Oracle will go down. That Viking obviously guaranteeing it. Good counterattack, I think, from ByuN here. Sorry, I forgot that ByuN's in the red. They changed colors a little bit, but a good counterattack from ByuN. A big drop when so much of the attention is focused on this side of the map. The kind of counter drop is probably one of the better things you can do. In we go, potentially forces a recall. Protoss has been making a lot of Phoenix, so even recall might not be good enough. You might need a Terran army here. We're going to fully send it back home as uThermal and Goblin give up their position on the map. Do we save this base? Super Battery's going to try and put some work on it. No, we will not save the base. Phoenix will do some lifting. Probably should lift the siege tanks up though, so that the ground units don't get blasted. We'll do that now. Phoenix will go get those couple of medevacs. So just going to clean up over on this left-hand side. He will go down. +1 vehicle weapons and plating coming up. See it still on the side of Maru. Continue to bring that in for a moment. Well, uThermal's supply is still very good. Once and for once in this series, he's playing a bit differently. He's playing the ByuN, Maru's playing the mech. Different approach to what we've been seeing in the previous games as well. Yo, Captain Shakespeare, thank you, by the way, for the 100 bits. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the tip. There's our medevacs. Now from uThermal, look for a big drop into the main base of Maru. That seems to be his plan. We have the Phoenix's support here as well. Can lift up some of the units, although the Thor is not liftable. And the main base of Maru, main orbital at least, will go down. Obviously, all the productions here, the armories are here, depots as well. This is a big hit onto Maru. As we will obviously try and figure out a way out of here as well. I think uThermal will just stand and fight for a little while longer. The armories are burning. The tanks are now firing. uThermal's decided to stand and fight. The Phoenix is going to go through for whatever they can. We'll lift up a little bit. I love the Phoenix. Lifting the Marines allows the medevacs to escape out through the right side. Missile turrets, though. We actually have to unload one of the medevacs because of the missile turret was going to get the kill. uThermal losing supply on the outro. However, he kills off a base. Actually going to find this base over here as well. These few SCVs will be in trouble for a few moments, so ByuN will lose some workers as well. And overall, Goblin and uThermal are still in an overall supply lead. With Goblin making carriers, to me, that is going to put you into a very, very good position. Tanks still sieging, Hellbat still pressing through. Too much shots coming out, the Thors are going to be firing away. Carrier is going to continue up as we do see all of these tanks getting lifted. The Thor's still getting pushed up. The Marines are stemming forwards. This is the cleanup being made from uThermal and Goblin to send them to the finals. Maru and ByuN will fall in the semis. GV2 Masters, they are not, unfortunately. And it is going to be a Goblin uThermal versus MaxBlack Spirit Grand Final. An upset here in